last session, you guys had entered the tower, the old wizard's tower that Rictavio had directed you to, and encountered him up in his room. And you guys all joined him and kind of expressed the fact that you were looking to see if he might be this fated ally that you are hoping to seek from the Madame Ava's prophecy. And he seemed fairly skittish, especially considering that, as you described, you were following the advice of a Vistani seer, and it became fairly evident that Rictavio is not terribly trusting of the Vistani as a people. While you were having this discussion, you heard noises from the woods, and it appears that the trap that you had set off upon entering the tower, the big lightning strike that consumed the whole tower, seemed to have drawn the attention of a pack of werewolves nearby. And they came to surround the tower with you inside. The group of you decided that you would wait it out through the night and stay the night with Rictavio to see if they left by morning. And during that evening, Mim opened up a chest at the foot of Rictavio's bed and found the head of what appeared to be a man embalmed in the chest itself. And upon being frightened by said head, Rictavio awoke to see Mim at the foot of the bed. They had a tense discussion before Mim reluctantly went back to bed. And in the morning, you guys had a fight with a werewolf pack outside of the tower. You managed to defeat the werewolves and send them back on their way, but in the process, you triggered the tower once during the discussion as a test and once during the fight, which caused the trap triggering 3 separate times, caused the structural foundation of the tower to give way, and the tower collapsed on Alistair, who managed just barely to survive. The rest of you did manage to escape the tower. Rictavio managed to jump off the scaffolding on the side. You guys were able to revive his tiger, who had perished in the fight. And following the fight, you helped him dig up his chest. His wagon had been exploded during the fight, so he mounted his tiger, had some stern words on his way out, and took his chest and rode off into the forest. And now it is about noontime. You are standing in the rubble of this abandoned tower. Rictavio has left. And the 5 of you and Irina are standing amongst the wreckage of along the border of this lake.
Before Rictavio left, he had given me a few pieces of parchment.
Mm-hmm.
Is that an actual item? What should I call that? So I can note that I have it.
He basically said to contact him with it if needed, yes?
Yeah.
Yes. I would just call it Rictavio's parchment, and note it that you can tear off strips and...
Sending, basically?
Yeah.
Cool.
We're all together right now, right? And we're not like split up.
Correct.
Thanks.
You guys are all in the same vicinity. You aren't like all standing directly next to each other, but some of you are as last positioning. Sten, Irina, and Alistair are in the rubble, and Adunbi, Mim, and are out in front of the tower, just past the wreckage of the wagon.
How long has it been since the tower fell?
About 5-6 hours. You guys spent a number of hours digging through the rubble.
Well, we should be getting on our way, yes?
I'm surprised we still have our horses. What luck.
How intact is his cart? 'Cause I know
The back half is completely basically the tiger as it grew burst out the back of the wagon. So the front is intact, barely, but basically it's about the first third, and the rest is kind of burst out. There's a variety of like cracks and stuff kind of webbing up the front. The front two wheels are still functional, but they're a little wobbly.
Less wagon, more chariot.
It's turned basically into a rolling bench, and even if you could roll the bench, the wheels are gonna be pretty rickety.
on our way out, I want to investigate it, see if he's left anything behind on it.
All right, roll me investigation.
Cool. 9.
All right.
That was my new dice. It also failed.
How many dice have you gone through in this campaign?
8 sets.
Holy shit!
I can't roll over than a 10.
What the?
Have you tried rolling a d20?
Oh my
I'm
god.
rolling just D4s.
We tried rolling a d20.
So as you kind of look through, there's between like some fur that's been torn off the sides of the wood and like the wood splintered. You can see like some thrashed cloth and what appeared to be basic belongings, but nothing particularly of value. You find a variety of metal bars that were once part of the tiger's cage within the wagon itself. Some of which are still like hanging on to the base of the cage and splintered outwards in these very jagged edges, and others of which are just bent or completely torn asunder and scattered amongst the wreckage. And it's strange. All of the wood is painted very vibrant colors, so it's almost like somebody set off like a confetti cannon, but instead of confetti, it's wood shrapnel and metal pieces. But nothing particularly of note.
Okay. I want to use the quill, write down as if Mim was trapped in this cart and exploded it herself, and that'll be the record of the tower.
All right. You describe how Mim managed to explode this cart all on her own, and the quill very colorfully describes each shade of the paint of this wagon throughout the story.
All right. Well, I have to get some training for this stupid pen.
No. Why? How long have you had that pen?
Oh, I got it yesterday.
It writes at the end of the story, I was in a particularly foul mood this morning.
Well, shall we be off? I don't particularly want to stick around a fallen tower.
Yes, let's go to a place that has wine.
Yes. All right, let's grab our horses.
All right.
All right, so you guys head back. The horses are pretty skittish when you get back from all of the commotion, but you do manage to calm the horses after a little bit of soothing and mount up. You guys managed to tuck them far enough away that it didn't appear that they were noticed.
I have one more above table question for the group. Who has the tome right now?
The tome?
Endar does. He copied it over. Or we copied a summary of it last night.
Wasn't it the diary or something?
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't have the actual book. I just have what we copied over.
So maybe I gave it back to Alistair.
Okay.
We'll say it so.
Ender has a photographic memory, right?
and has many things, and a photographic memory is not one of them.
Okay. I couldn't remember if he had the
Keen mind.
Keen
Keen
mind.
mind, yeah.
So you guys mount up. You get all settled in your saddles. You start heading down the path from whence you came. Heading south. Here I will show map. We can head to the screen real quick. Ooh. So, you guys start heading down the path, come towards this fork in the road from which you came, and you're faced with the choice of left back towards Valaki or right, which will take you south and a little bit west towards the main road again. You're still kind of in what's more dirt road than like official main road. This is definitely deep in the forest.
So basically, we can go along the path to the wizard. There's like a forest path.
So right now you're on a fork. You're basically here. There's this fork right here.
This one. Okay,
And
so that's where we
so
are.
you guys came from this direction,
Yeah.
which heads back towards Valaki.
Yeah, but we're at the crossroads right here. right?
Correct. So left will take you back this way. Right will take you down towards this
Left.
main road.
Oh, you mean from character perspective? Okay.
Correct.
So, right?
Well, we certainly can't go back. We have to find another horse before we return these.
Oh, that's right.
As long as we don't lose any more horses, I'm pretty sure I still have this taken care of.
You have what taken care of?
Just one horse.
Excuse me. What was the deal again that we made? About the horses.
We'll return them in, I think, 2 days from now.
We had them
Paid an
for
extra day.
you paid for them for 4 days, and they said that if we don't have them back in a week, they'll come hunting.
They'll
Yeah.
come
And
hunting.
then we immediately killed one of them, and then we collapsed the tower. So we need to get going.
We've
Could
been
say we're
gone
on a
for
roll.
2. We have 2 days left.
There's no way we're bringing these horses back.
Of course not.
Do you think we can make it to the Wizard of Wines in that day?
And back.
That's why we struck that deal. Is we needed a little bit of a buffer time.
Okay.
Well, in reality, we really have a week. Not just the 4 days.
I don't know that we should push our luck.
Yeah, so was it 4 business days or 4 total days?
On a week with a holiday, it's
day or the
definitely 4 days still.
Based off our previous interaction, I'd be willing to bet that if we return them after the 4, he's going to charge us more money.
Well, we'll just
He does know
stand
we
far
are.
back and then let them go and smack their booties, and then they'll run towards the camp. And we'll run away the other way.
Does that work?
Well, it did that one time when I was like, pulling a heist.
A heist?
So right, we're going right then.
Since
Let's
Is it right?
go.
I think definitely, yeah.
All right, so you guys, with some concerning glances towards Mim, all veer right and start heading down this wooden path. Not wooden path, this dirt forest path. So,
Sneak a couple of yeehaws in there.
Yeah. Get him, cowboy.
you guys have a few hours of travel. The sun's high in the sky. You guys are on horseback. Mim is on donkey back. And
Very
if I'm not
different from
mistaken,
horseback.
it was Sten and Alistair that were sharing a horse.
I believe so.
That's probably a good idea because I can't drive a horse. I don't know why I wanted to say that.
Drive a horse.
Yeah, that's how the song goes, right? Drive a horse, park a cowboy.
Oh, I don't know the song.
And so the sun is warm and stuffy through that kind of hazy cloud cover that constantly covers Barovia. You don't never really have that direct sunlight, but you feel a little bit of heat coming through, and you've got that kind of musty, humid feeling. The dust is kicking up under the horses' hooves, and you guys can hear the crows in the distance as the breeze wafts through the branches of the woods. This is a fairly deeper section of the woods, so you've got these long shadows being cast by the tree's branches, and you kind of get glimpses of the sky here and there as the trees thin or thicken up moment to moment. You can hear kind of rustling throughout the woods and the sounds of wolves and animals kind of roaming through the countryside as you travel. But you guys do have a couple hours.
So how does one like you get mixed up in heists?
Oh, well, it has to do with the person that taught me how to be sneaky.
Stinky?
Sneaky.
I was about to say.
I thought that was just the donkey.
I was about to say, I've never met anyone that helped practice how to become stinky.
Hey,
Mim-
my nose is a little stuffy with all this dust here, okay? Don't make fun of the way I'm talking.
Mim, who taught you?
Well, he was kind of like Andar. He was like a wizard guy, you know? I thought he was there to save me, but, well, he's dead now, so I guess it doesn't really matter. Anyway,
To brighter days then.
yeah. Yeah. Did you guys know that you're the best friends I've ever had?
Well, thank you. That means a lot to me.
You must not have had many friends.
And
Yes?
What's that supposed to say? We've almost died together so many times. I think that makes us really good friends.
Who doesn't almost die all the time?
normal
And,
people,
About your
Enda.
life.
And is adventuring normal for you?
Well, not so much.
Were you attending school?
You could say that. A sort of school. I went to the school my father wanted me to. It wasn't traditional school. He wouldn't let me go to school with the common folk, as he says.
Oh, one of those kind of parents. I never knew my father.
No, I knew my father quite well. That's the problem.
Were you of a noble family?
One could say that, yes.
Your father also a practitioner of the magic arts.
Was what?
Was your father also a practitioner of the magic arts?
No, my father was a politician.
Then it's very clear why his advice was so bad.
Hey now,
Yes, it does make sense, doesn't it?
Yes.
not all politician parents are terrible people.
It's a good assumption, though.
It can be.
I'm pretty sure every politician we've met so far, besides you, Irina, they've been pretty rough.
Well, I wouldn't consider myself primarily a politician, so that makes sense. I think anyone who does probably has other motives in mind.
I believe that's the exact job of a politician. to have other motives in mind.
Unfortunately, that does appear to be the stigma. And I imagine our childhoods were very similar. Lots of classes and trainings, studies.
Yes. Yes, lots of books. So many books.
And that kind of strikes me as the kind of student who doesn't really go to class.
Is that true? And
All
you
right,
skip all your
Rabbit.
classes? It's okay. You can be honest here.
Yeah, we're all friends.
Maybe like 1 or 2 classes.
You're different than my other friends.
And or what city do you hail from?
Oh, I come from a smaller town called Lightwood Village.
Have I ever heard of this village?
Roll me a history check.
Oh, dirty 20.
I'll say you have. Why not?
Okay.
You don't. I'll say this. It sounds familiar. You can't remember why,
Okay.
but it rings a bell, and you feel like you know where he's talking about. And as he
Okay.
describes it, it'll be familiar, but you don't remember details or why you feel it's familiar.
Okay. I think I recall that place.
Oh, do you? It's much sunnier than here. I'm going to lose my tan if we're here much longer, and then I'll get made fun of quite a bit when I get back. I suppose if I get back at the rate we're going.
It's actually something that I'm curious about.
How
I've heard
tan I
around-
am?
Well, no. You two seem to know where each other are from, but if we all came here from different places, we come here from the same worlds.
I don't know that I'm from the same place that maybe Andar and Alistair are. Very
Then-
likely not.
Where are you from?
I'm from the Fae. The Feywild. Have you
I've-
ever been?
I've read about the Feywild. It's considered to be a fairly chaotic place, is it not?
Oh, I mean, and I'll look at Mim. I mean,
Yeah. Jen, I don't really remember the Feywild.
oh,
Are there a lot of fairies there?
yeah. I suppose it depends what side you're on.
What side?
Oh
There's more
yes,
than
if
one
you're
side.
stuck inside, then probably won't see a lot of fairies. If you're stuck largely outside, then maybe.
Define chaotic.
There's just a lot to look at.
My understanding is that it sort of follows its own rules, and the rules are not always the most logical or straightforward.
Sure. How about this, Adubi? Look at the tree right here. Mm-hmm. If you really thought very hard that you wanted to be friends with that tree, it might actually start extending its branches towards you.
Really?
Sometimes.
Well, that seems more pleasant than what I was thinking. The way Irina described it, just sounded kind of like real life.
Sometimes, if you're very mad, some bad things might happen. It seems to latch on to your emotional energy.
Is that why you're always so nice, then?
For fear of trees? No.
I can say that I know of the Feywild and the other different planes, but I can tell you I haven't been within the last 2 years, at least.
The last 2. It's a long time
Especially for him, he's
for a human.
just a kid.
Yes, you've been a lot alive for. No, half your lifetime. Yes.
Well, yeah, I guess at least 2 years that I remember.
No, you not much.
I wonder if us coming here is messing with our memory. Mim doesn't remember? Alistair doesn't remember?
Remember?
Well, I remember, like, my life, most of my life. I just don't remember when I was really little because I was taken from the Fae a long time ago. I'd like to go back.
What we're doing here will. Oh wait,
It's okay,
you can
Jack.
be friends.
Hmm?
That's where you can be with your friend.
I think we're losing a Doomby.
I think Adunbi,
Can you not hear me?
you're just cutting
hello?
out.
Let me put my mic closer to my mouth. How? I was just saying, I was basically just saying, like, what we're doing here will help you get back, and you'll be with your friends again.
I hope we can
Hey.
all stay friends.
They are your friends. Where you would go back to, where you were taken from.
Wait, say that again?
Are they? They are your friends?
Well, okay. So, where I was before this, I was living in a tree house with some friends. We were having a dinner party. It was really great. But you see, my friends aren't really talkative. They're kind of just,
When you say they are tiny in nature,
some of them, yeah. Some of them are,
Hard-headed?
yeah, a little leafy and rocky.
those are some cute names.
Yeah, but they don't really talk that much or move, really, like you guys do. So, but they're the first friends I've ever made, plus my acorns. So, I guess I'd like to get back to them, but they're not the best friends I've ever had. I think you guys are.
Ma'am, if we get back, I could introduce you to a few of my friends. I think you get along very well.
You have friends?
Yeah, his name's Jarek. He's been a good friend for the last 2 years.
If we have any say when we get a chance to go back, I can bring you to the Feywild.
Oh my gosh, yes, please! See, I told you guys we were friends. You didn't believe me. It doesn't take that long to build friendship. I mean, I did have a friend in that wizard, and then I found out that he was lying. But let's hope you guys aren't lying. Because you're really nice. Alistair, what happened to make you forget anything else from your life? Do you know?
No. All I really remember is waking up under a devastated tree one day. It was glowing, much like you guys saw the mask that was glowing. I woke up with the mask under the tree and traveled for what felt like months until I just couldn't travel anymore. It was rough.
I think I remember that day we stayed behind. You had mentioned something. You were part of a group or something, right?
Yes, the Cult of Mask. They found me and they took me in. I nursed me back to health. That was Jarek's group. They're good people.
Does it have anything to do with the mask you did wear?
It seemed like a coincidence, but I would be surprised if it wasn't one of the reasons that they took me in. I didn't find out until recently that that there might be some influence from a deity. I don't know.
Were you the sort of group to run around helping people, or
Helping people in a sense. They had a code. They were much like Mim in the way of they were very good at being quick of hand.
Oh.
Yes. But they had a code that they more of a rob from the rich, give to the poor, that just seemed to blend well with any ideals that I had at the time.
A sort of honor among thieves situation.
Yes, but they also did work for like noble houses, and it seemed like a lesser evil type of situation.
I can tell you right now, there's no such thing as a lesser evil. They're all about the same.
Well, it seemed like these people were trying to do good by people who did good by them.
That's all you can really do.
Adunbi, that sounds a little absolutist to say that there's no such thing as a lesser evil.
Okay. Is there something else that you wanted to add to that statement?
It's just surprising to me as... Do you not... What do I say? Is it also black and white for you? Is there no gray? People are nuanced. People are complex, and situations are rarely so straightforward. But it's interesting that you have such a hardline stance in regards to such a broad topic.
Just because something is good or just because something is bad doesn't mean you can't understand why someone did it, or that it needs to be done, or doesn't need to be done. I would say that there's nuance, but I don't think that nuance disregards my statements at all.
Interesting.
It might be something that you understand when you commune with a deity of your own. It might give you some broader perspective.
I've never considered myself to be much of the religious type, but then again, religion has rarely provided much results in my life, as I've seen.
Faith and religion are not one and the same thing.
I can attest to that.
But like I said, and you don't need to be religious to have a spiritual journey or commune with another deity. Like I said, once you have that experience, you might have a little bit more insights and knowledge into your own decisions as well.
Perhaps. We'll have to see what fate has in store for me.
Maybe.
For what it's worth, I didn't put much weight in the divine until, well, apparently 3 days ago.
Alistair, have you felt any presence or heard any weird voices or anything?
Before I came here, I was troubled by visions. Most notably, there was one where there was a girl and she was screaming for help, that she needed help, and that people were dragging her away. And she called out for somebody. All I heard was "Al," and that was it. It cut off. I snapped back awake. And that's how Jarrett gave me the name Alistair. He said it could make sense. And they needed something to call me, so.
It's a little poetic, right?
How do you
In a
mean?
dark time, all you need is a star. Alistair.
Did you know that Alistar is actually the name of a giant mythical bull?
It is?
Yes. Giant, purple, glowing red eyes. Very nasty and mean.
Oh, sounds just like you. I'm just kidding.
Fun fact, Hermes didn't know that.
Wait, who's Hermes? No.
All you think of is.
Huh? Then he didn't know what?
I didn't know that. Like, as person, I did not know
Oh,
that.
it's not true. I'm just talking about the legal legends.
From Lee,
I'm talking about the legal legends shit, man. I'm making it
That's
legal,
even
man.
better.
God.
No, I didn't know that.
Well, the more you know. Maybe one day you'll meet him. You are some sort of a monster hunter, are you not?
I did work for bounties. Mostly what I did for the Cult of Mask was, if a noble person reached out to them, I would go take care of any danger, pack of wolves. Much smaller than what we've seen here. I definitely was not equipped for this.
Makes sense.
Wolves are smaller than they are here.
Yeah, traditionally.
Well, wouldn't that just be a dog?
They're more dog-sized, yes.
And what makes them wolves? Where you come from?
Well, they still act the same, vicious and feral and looking for food and whatever they might find, but they're not 6 feet tall. They're about 2, maybe 3.
So what you're saying is, in your word, wolves are just feral dogs.
Yes.
Fascinating. I imagine the woods are a lot less scary where you come from.
At least near the cities, yes.
Interesting. Never considered this.
Adumpi, did you live in a forest before?
I've lived in and been through many forests in my time, yes. Before this, specifically, I was, yes, abducted from a forest. But oddly enough, I was abducted into another forest, so not much changed for me. Besides the fact that there was unholy monsters and zombies and undead vampires, and, all of those things.
Yeah, probably not too different, I guess.
It's pretty much the same besides of that, yes.
Ajumbi, how long have you been in Barovia?
Say maybe a little bit over 2 full moon cycles.
A long time.
It's pretty short for me. I've been just kind of buying my time for now. But since I've been here, this has been the most, how do you say, significant lead that I've had about getting out of here. So, this is a pretty good chance, a better chance than ever, I would say, to figure out how to escape.
So, we all want to get out of here. And that's our goal. And I think, it's good that we all align in that realm. But what about like the rest of Barovia?
What about
like-
the rest of Barovia?
Well, I don't know. I mean, everyone's trapped here. I just wonder if like
Many particularly nice people that I would be too keen on helping out later.
Well, I
Yes.
mean, if you lived here in this horrible place, I'm sure you would not be as nice too.
One could argue that I do in fact live here right now.
Well, if you've lived here your whole life and grew up here.
Part of the story that I was recounting to Rictavia, I included a small story about how it didn't really used to be this dark feeling. Sort of, the longer things went and the longer Strahd was around, the more just sad there was.
Personally, I don't. I think we barely know how to get out of here ourselves. If maybe that same way is how we could free the land from the scourge, then sure, but that is not my intent.
I would certainly say that Strahd is a scourge on this land.
Well, I'm just saying if it aligns or if we get a chance, maybe we should try and do some good. I've done a lot of not so good things, and I feel like, there's got to be a reason we're here. But you're right. We just got to focus on making sure we know how to get out first.
Scourge.
It seems reasonable. Now, my question would be, say we cannot free the people from this land, would you be opposed to, I don't know, burning all of Barovia to the ground?
I'm sorry?
What?
I mean, it might be better off that way instead of controlled by a undead, vampire.
Did you just casually suggest genocide on all of these people?
I was
I'm
asking
not
if that
saying
might
I'm
be...
out. I'm just asking.
Not to mention, Scourge is a strong word. Yes, Strahd is a menace. Strahd has killed many, and seems to like to toy with strangers to this land. And yes,
would not-
life in Barovia isn't the greatest, but
Mhm.
it's still alive. It's still our own. We still have people that we must take care of in cities and towns, families, friends.
I
We
mean,
have
for now-
commerce. We have politics.
I mean, for now, until Strahd takes over everything.
Strahd has
And turns everyone
has
into undead.
owned everything for as long as I can remember.
Yes,
Strahd has
but
been
until
Strahd has been the overarching lord of this land and has control and knowledge of almost everything in it. But these are not the results of Strahd's doings. These are the results of the people. The people create
I mean,
these things within the land of Strahd, and we survive under Strahd's rule.
I wouldn't have taken you as a Strahd apologist.
Well, I wouldn't have taken you for one that would commit genocide so casually.
I did not
I-
commit genocide so casually. I
Well-
haven't done that.
No,
I
but
think
you
it's-
proposed it.
What's her name?
Irina.
Irina, thank you, Jesus. I was spacing so
weeks.
hard.
Hey, lady!
Hey, lady!
It's okay. I
I'm-
have trouble remembering names as well.
Oh, don't
I'm
we all
not-
know that?
I'm not necessarily defending Strahd's ability to rule, or that I by no way am I saying that Strahd is necessarily a good person. I've had my run-ins, and he's charming, sure, but that's not to speak to his character. What I am saying is that to doom all of Barovia,
It doesn't have to be all of
Irina, I think it was less a literal statement and more of a Strahd defeated, there'll be a grasp for power. Someplace where we could get your brother or you into.
I think that's a long ways off. And
A goal is still the goal.
the goal is still the goal. I imagine, logically speaking, if Strahd were to fall, then Barovia would likely fall into, in the short term, some form of city-states with each city under their own governance and burgomasters such as myself and the
Here we go. Politics again.
Valakovicius, if they're still alive, meeting and discussing the fate of the realm. I can't imagine how that would go, but I imagine that would be the next step. But that's making a lot of assumptions. I'm not sure if you all witnessed the parade of souls that leaves my town each evening.
But what do they go to do?
Yeah, that's...
Good. Didn't we know it was like a one-track mind on the way to the castle?
Yes. That parade of souls are all adventurers like you who have come to this land from the outside and fall into Strahd's hand. And each night they rise and they walk their way to the castle only to fall into its depths once again.
Those
There you go.
adventurers.
See, even if we die, we'll have a group of friends still.
That's a good way of looking at it, I suppose. God, I'm talking like Irina. Shit. That's a good way of looking at it, I suppose.
I think it's rather more a curse.
What's my other moral curse?
The Parade of Souls, we lost a colleague on our first day here, and we saw him marching. He wasn't really him. He just looked like him.
Seems like a pretty horrible fate.
I think we can all agree that no matter what the outcome is, worlds without Strahd are probably better than a world with Strahd.
Yeah, but we shouldn't doom everybody in Barovia to not live in a world at all. You know, these people, they still have they still have something to fight for. They still have, like, their families. Like, take the, what's the pub in people's names?
Blue Water?
Danica, Mordekov.
Mordekov
Like,
family.
take
we go.
Danica and Mordekov and their kids. Like, they still have things to fight for. We can't doom them all. I think we have to find a way out. And if we can help other people on our way out, we could try. But I don't think we're gonna get out without having to find out exactly what's going on with the Strahd guy, you know?
I agree there, and I have to agree with the Doomby. Being evil has a price.
We do have a couple things that can help us learn a little bit more about Strahd. Maybe there are answers or clues to the next step.
I agree, and that's also one more thing we have that the adventurers before us did not. And we're on the track to continue as such with what Madame Ava has at least told us.
Are we worried about keeping the tone? From what Rictavio said? Should we make quick work of reading it and...
I'll
place
be
it somewhere?
honest, I don't know that I'm the one that should have this. Can't exactly protect it very well, and haven't felt like reading the past few days.
I apologize again for your predicament, Alistair. I promise we will get back to saving you as quickly as possible.
Thanks. Thanks.
I would offer to take it from you, but I don't think that we should have the real thing and the copy in the same place.
Well, if we already have it all copied, maybe we just burn it or bury it or hide it.
Have we... I'm kind of asking this above table. Have we magically taken a look at this? And have you done identify on this book?
I don't believe so.
It's just a copy, right?
No, it's his
Well,
diary.
No,
I
we
have
have
the
the
real
book.
thing.
Oh.
We summarized a little bit of it last night, Andor and I. So he's got some notes.
And
Gotcha.
for what it's worth, it might be worth checking this book for arcane means, whether that be Strahd tracking it or something more.
All right, well, hand it over.
Do you know Alistair?
Right.
Oh, go ahead.
Balance it on the saddle in front of me and start.
I will say it's going to be tough to
identifying.
do well writing, but you can try.
I'm a very experienced horse
Reader.
person.
He went to school for this, man.
She's practiced with horses and reading? Like, I mean,
Yeah,
come on.
haven't you?
What else do rich kids do?
I mean,
They don't push their friends
They
down
ride
wells.
horses while reading.
Not wrong.
who pushed what down a well?
Truth or dare, Andor ended up in the bottom of a well.
Oh.
It's in the poem.
That was
Sten.
truth or dare.
Sen, you were going to say something?
Yeah, if we're to believe everything Madame Ava said, there's a little thing she said on the Wizard of Wines that we're looking for a weapon of vengeance. Maybe not the worst thing to take your life back with.
Ooh.
That's true. That's very true. I know that the hag needs to be stopped, and it's concerning because we also have friends who are in dire need of assistance. Erwin and Danica.
Blinsky.
Hopefully, Blinsky's a little bit better off with Isaac gone.
It is just impossible to cast this on this horse. Can we stop for about 10 minutes? Maybe grab some food. Some of you seem grumpy.
I'm
not grumpy.
I could use a bathroom.
Yes. Also, Alistair, don't forget that, I mean, you're fine now, but you were also more enjoyable when you had your soul.
You did make worse decisions, though, so we'll work on that.
Yeah. I think we have all made some bad decisions here and there.
For what it's worth, I think I would be sorry, but to make an apology now would be, well, it would be empty-hearted. That's a very literal statement, Adumbi.
Did he just make a pun without a soul?
Did you just understand the pun?
I did. Believe it or not, I also read a number of books growing up.
Wait, you did?
Yes, it's almost as if we discussed this a moment ago.
Oh yeah, that's what rich people do. They read books on horses.
Didn't mean to make a pun. I quite literally am kind of empty-hearted.
The pun, but just a simple statement, right?
Sure.
I think that's what made the joke funnier, Alistair.
Oh. Got it.
I think there's a tree here that we could tie our horses to.
Make sure it's not one of the trees that Sten is scared of.
Well, Sten,
Well-
you are the tree expert.
More scared of the horses than I am trees.
Why did the music get so intense?
We're about to
Because it
regale
could
you
be a
with a
tree.
wonderful tree story.
Could be an evil tree or a good tree. We'll find out right now. Every tree is a.
I'm gonna tie my
It's a
horse up
risk.
and hop off and cast Identify on the diary as a
Alright.
ritual.
How far have we gotten? Guessing by the time we've been going.
You guys have traveled for, at this point, about 2 hours. You guys have... During this conversation, you would have reached another crossroads in which you could have gone north or south. I will show map. You guys will be significantly past this point, but there's a crossroads here. Right leads north, left leads south.
Well, we would have went north so we could get that forest path, right? Towards the Wizard of Wines.
Yeah, there's probably a sign right there.
Yeah, I was gonna say we probably came to a sign.
And you'll notice that, so the at this crossroads, there's a sign that points to Kresk, and then there's a sign that points to Selenka Pass.
Why does Crest sound familiar?
We've learned about the abbot in Kresk,
Oh.
but that's the only mention. So that's
Okay.
Elise and her brother were from Kresk.
yeah.
Mhm.
So,
The pass. Sorry, the pass. Was there any mention from Casimir? Is that
he said
what
that
they would have been talking about?
he said that yes, the place he was searching for was south through Selenka Pass and beyond,
And beyond.
south of Mount Gakis.
Mount Gaku?
Gakis. So you guys head towards Kresk, and along the way you notice a well-worn wagon path heading into the forest, and now you guys are traveling along that route. At this point in time, you guys are about here, and it is full mid-afternoon. It is about 3 or 4 in the afternoon. You guys stop and pull off to the side. You guys can kind of hear the stream and the river nearby through the woods.
You said we heard a scream?
The
Stream.
stream.
Stream. All right,
Like
that
a
makes way
river.
more sense.
Kind of a well-worn path. Weird that they're still running so short on wine.
Well, the Wizard of Wine is the only supplier of wine in all of Barovia. It's a very popular business, as you'd imagine, and it's been running for a very long time. Been passed down through generations and generations. It's actually, if I'm not mistaken, it was historically gifted by Strahd to another family. And then, if I recall correctly, there was a marriage in which it passed to another family. I'm trying to think of the name of it, though. Let's see if I can recall. The name's escaping me right now. But I believe the original owners died off, and the new family took over.
Well, they're doing a very good job. I did have the pleasure of having a lot of it.
The same family has had it for at least 100 years at this point.
Wow.
Well, let's hope nothing's happened to them since the wine's so in such a shortage.
Let's hope.
And do you think they have 100-year-old wine there? Don't you want to try it? If it's there?
Concentrating.
Him and I? He says grumpily.
100-year-old wine. I hope so.
Seems he could use a drink.
Pour some cold water on his head. I do hear a stream nearby.
Be sure
Wait.
to avoid all the spooky trees walking to the stream.
They're only spooky if you feel spooky, and
Above table running water is supposed to be a weakness of vampires.
yeah,
So like streams, not lakes though.
yeah.
Like, okay. But it has to be like actively running, or could it be it was once running water?
I think actively running,
Okay.
but maybe not like marathon level speed. But
Thanks.
Would a water balloon count as running water?
no, because
Maybe
that's
if
like your fridge is
you're-
running level speed.
But what if you're running with water? Then it is running water, right?
My
Well,
my
no,
understanding, I guess, is above table. My understanding is it has to be like waterfall level.
Oh, so not a river.
No, I think it has to be waterfall level.
Well, waterfall level doesn't really run; it drops.
That's more
But
falling
rivers,
water.
river
Yeah.
water can be pretty fast. Like if you think about like rapids. Okay. Anyway, there are a lot of rivers. We'll be fine. Andar, how you doing?
I would be doing better if I quit getting interrupted.
Okay, sorry.
Interrupted from what?
Oh my god.
Does anybody want to come check out the river with me?
I'll go.
Sure.
Woo!
All right, so the three of you leave Andar to his mutterings. Irina kind of stays back with the Doonby and Andar. But Sten, Alistair, and Mim all head north into the woods. There's the woods are pretty thick here. And you can tell it's these thick like pine trees and heavily like deciduous trees. Everything smells that kind of mossy, kind of earthy tone. And you guys approach and see this wide open stream kind of cutting through the forest with just this little embankment. It doesn't really have as much of like a sandy embankment as much as it just kind of drops off these root systems kind of holding the ground firm and then the river kind of cutting through.
You know, for how grey the sky is, it's still kind of peaceful right here.
What color is it? You said it's afternoon, right?
Yes, at this point it's like 3 or 4 in the afternoon.
What's
So you've got that
what's the
really like
sunset
orange.
What's the sunset like in Barovia?
It's mostly a dimming of light and kind of a shift in the color and tone of light. You don't really see the sunset directly as much as you just kind of can tell it's getting dark, and the hue of everything tends to shift throughout the day because you can't actually directly see the sun. And the cloud cover is thick enough that you don't really have like, you can kind of see like the outline of the orb of the sun, but you
Yeah.
never really get that direct line. So you don't really get like the spread colors that you would normally get with the sunset. You more just get everything kind of shifting from that kind of like clear color in the early part of the day into more and more orange and red, and then from red into that more purple blue as it gets more and more into evening.
Gotcha. That's pretty cool.
Do you think there's a top of the clouds here?
Top of the clouds.
Or do you think it's
Yes.
just more fog?
I believe there's a top. I think it just makes more sense.
If we flew high enough, we could get out.
Do you think you can fly that high, though?
No. I can't fly even a little high.
Is that something that you can learn to do? Or
No. Well,
Um,
maybe with time, but more time than I'm willing to spend.
Mm.
Do you?
Austin, you remember what happened when you flew really high? Or not flew, where you, you walked out into the fog at the mansion?
Oh yes,
I don't really know if I want that to happen to me.
that's what I'm curious. That's why I'm curious if you go high enough, if it's the same thing.
If I
Is
just like fly up and like put my hand in the clouds, do you think it'll eat me?
I don't know that I would go that high, to be honest with you.
I can't tell you, I've never felt more tired in my life walking through the fog.
Well, I guess if we have no other options, I'll have to try it.
You
The
guys,
last resort.
you guys think that Barovia may be on a different plane than the prime material?
I don't know.
Most definitely.
Can't say I've ever heard of Barovia before.
I can't say I've ever heard of a. I also can't say I've ever heard of a dimension that's turns every other creature into an undead, fiendish aberration. So this is somewhat new to me as well.
Yeah, I do kind of hate what happens with my hand. I'll cast Mage Hand.
It's
Oh yeah.
completely skeletal.
Ooh, I also cast Mage Hand, and I high five his Mage Hand. Still pretty cool though.
I still can't get over it.
It's just kind of weird though. Is if it were just like this other, plane, why does there have to be fog to keep people trapped in? Because if you could just walk out of it, where would you end up? That's what I wanted.
I mean, when I
That's
walked in,
a good question.
it felt like forever and an instant, kind of the same time, which I think is why I felt so tired. My mind didn't know how long I'd been walking.
Where were you guys off to when I assume you guys saw the fog as I did?
I was trying to clear my head. I was on a bit of a sad walk.
I a sad walk.
You know that cave we went through yesterday? 2 days ago?
Mm-hmm. With the rock thing? The things
Yes.
with stone people? Yep.
I'd been getting nightmares of my friends back home, of them turning into stone. But they didn't really have their faces, I just kind of knew it was them. And I went to kind of our local seer, not unlike Madame Ava, but a little different, to try and figure out what it was, and she didn't really help. So I just walked to try and clear my head, didn't want to go to bed that night. And then I did wake up into a nightmare, so...
But now you're facing such horrible things that when you go back, it's like you can handle anything.
As long as my friends are still there when I go back, yes.
Oh. What was your question, Alistair?
What were you doing when you walked into the fog, or the fog enveloped you?
I think I was just flying up and up and up trying to escape it, and it was chasing me down. It was right after I had a dinner party.
A Doomby? Assuming that's how you got here?
I mean, for me, I was just walking through the forest, just taking a stroll. I have a grove that I spent a lot of time around. But that seems like just yesterday to me.
I was hired to go check out a house up the ways. I was hired to go into that house, and the mist got very heavy, and I saw Endar in the mist.
What?
And then a table, and I sat down at the table and passed out, and when I woke up, all of you were there. And the construct was there too.
It's very interesting. By the way, did Endar ever finish his identify?
He's not with us. We walked
not with
away
you,
from
yeah.
him.
Well, I guess we should go back and check on Andar.
I suppose it's enough peace and quiet for him.
That's true.
It's funny, I'm so much older and he acts like an old man.
We walk back to Andar.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to fix people.
Oh. Before we do, I'm gonna grab I have a little vial of liquid. I'm gonna pour out whatever liquid's in there, and I'm gonna take some of the river water just for safekeeping.
Okay. So, you guys head back. Andar is still working to try and get the he's at this point Andar's finishing his ritual and has finished his ritual. Doonby and Andar and Irina. Andar, you would have the chance to finish your ritual, and from what you can tell, it's a regular book. It's pretty damaged, so you can it's evident that there's no magical protections on it. That's part of why you guys have only been able to discern part of it. And any sort of magic that you can tell that's on it doesn't appear to be any sort of enchantment. It's got like almost like a magical residue, but nothing directly that affects it. So you would have the chance to figure that out while they're still gone.
Hey, Andar, we're back.
My God.
Where?
I'm just stating that in case a Doonby or Andar or Irina would want to say anything before they get back, because you'll have a little bit of time.
Oh.
So you said it doesn't seem to appear there's any magical residue on it?
No, so it's not magical. It's a regular journal.
Okay. Well, how long do you think it will take for us to get to the Wizard of Wines at this pace?
I imagine that we could probably reach there by evening if we continue to hustle. Evening will fall by the time we reach it. It would be potentially slightly risky, but not unheard of, at least in what we've been encountering or facing.
Though, isn't it more risky to stay out in the woods?
You would think, but what I found is that we don't really follow the normal lines of logic.
A little chaotic then.
In a way.
Well, we've got Andar's thing.
Hey?
Yes, we slept in it the other day.
Oh yeah, the tent thingy.
The tiny hut.
Oh yes, that we could, just in case something were to happen, offer a little protection, some cover.
You could do that again, right, Andar? Oh.
Takes about 10 minutes.
Do you need another 10 minutes?
Oh my God. It would take less time if I would quit getting interrupted.
It might be worth pushing on and traveling and sleeping just outside the cusp of the Wizard of Wine.
Yeah, let's
I
go
agree
as
with the
far as
grumpy
we can.
child.
Oh. Andar, do you and your friends talk to each other like this at home?
Like what?
Rudely.
Like not using.
Rudely, we all have fun nicknames for each other.
Your
Outside
nickname
of
is
they
an
call you?
observation of me.
outside of Irina's earshot, I say to Mim, he's a noble.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I have my friend Handsome Dave, and then there's Alan the Strong and Sir William.
Sir William.
Handsome Dave?
I didn't come up with it.
Oh. What's your name? What's your nickname?
Oh well, they call me Feeble Andy. Some other.
Feeble
We all like to have fun. It's a good time. We all jab each other a little bit.
Feeble Andy?
Oh, that one got me.
Good old Feeble Andy.
And do you remember what you were doing before you came out of the mist? Or before you went into the mist?
Well, I was either walking to the bar or from it. I was in quite a state either way.
And do you remember... Did you see me in the mist?
But to be quite honest, I don't remember much about that night.
You did.
But I certainly do remember that.
That's the question is, you saw him. I don't remember if he saw you. I think he might have.
So you told me and Andar, and we had a little exchange of it that we saw each other.
Oh, okay, cool. You did. Okay, cool.
Yep.
That's
I
so
was gonna say it's
weird.
been a long time, so
I rewatched it last night.
there you go. Boom. Good, good, good.
Maybe that's why Lightwood Village sounds so familiar to you, Alistair.
It's certainly
Came from
possible.
the same place.
Yeah, I mean, Lightwood's also my last name, so maybe you just remember that.
Your last name's Lightwood.
My
Wait.
God, Rabbit, we've talked about this.
Such a long
Wait.
name.
Wait a minute. Do you own that town then?
I don't own the town. My father does.
Oh. Well, I'm sorry, Andar.
At least you're feeble wealthy, Andy.
Okay. Let's calm down.
All right, well, I'm ready to get a move on.
Yeah, let's.
Go, 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 go on an
All
adventure.
right, so you guys
Power Rangers.
gather up your belongings and hop back on horse. As I said, it's getting to be about 5 o'clock at this point, after taking a break. So, you guys get back on the path heading towards the south. And as you travel, you're starting to get that bluish tint. The sounds of crickets and things are starting to kind of work their way into the
My God,
soundscape.
is this the same fly that has been following us this whole time?
You guys still have a couple hours of travel. Irina kind of pauses, and as you guys are traveling, kind of turns and says, "So, out of the 5 of you, 3 of you faced abduction?"
How do you mean?
Well, according to the stories you were telling earlier, Adunbi was abducted, Mim was abducted, and then it sounds like it sounds like Sten and Andar were just wandering. But Alistair, were you abducted as well, or am I mistaken?
Before the mist, or
Or by the mist.
I'm just saying in general. It seems odd to me that out of a group of 6 individuals, that half of us have been abducted at some form in our lives.
I think I may have had a friend who was abducted, but it's all visions and shaky, and I would love to find out what happened to her.
Even then, a third seems awfully high. It's not exactly a common occurrence for...
Oh, you know what the saying is, right? 3 times is bad when it's a bad consequence to action.
What?
I'm sorry?
Do you not?
Three
I
times
mean, it's
is
a little
bad.
different. It's a little different in common, but when it happens thrice, it's not very nice.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I can't say I'm familiar with that saying. Is this a Feywild
Really?
saying?
No, I picked it up from somewhere else.
Maybe it was Wealthy Andy saying,
Pretty much it means, 1 or 2 times if it's, something bad that happens, yeah, maybe it's whatever. But once it's 3, that's too many.
"Too many to be a coincidence, that's for sure." Irina, I have a question for you. If you had the chance to step out of the mists of Barovia and come to our land, do you think you'd take it?
It kind of stops for a second. I don't know. It would be very difficult to leave my people behind. I owe them a great deal. And leaving them would be much like leaving family.
I see your meaning. You and your brother, though I may have made a bad first impression there, you guys seem good. Seem like you're keeping people in line, keeping them well fed.
But we try. Barovia is definitely not the most pleasant of places. And the prospect of going somewhere new is something I've dreamed of since I was a child. But if I really take the moment to think about it, I don't know if I'd ever be able to make it back. No one's ever been able to leave. Except for the Vistani. And the Vistani can come and go as they please, and if that was the case, then absolutely, I'd leave in an instant. I'd visit, I'd take whoever I could to come with me, and we'd settle a new life somewhere different, somewhere far beyond the reach of Strahd or any dark creatures that inhabit this place, but fate instead seems to be such that if I ever am to leave this realm, it will be in some sort of escape. And I'm not sure if in doing so I will have the capability to return. And that makes the question significantly more difficult to answer, if that makes sense.
Understood.
But if faced with the opportunity to leave at all, I can't say it wouldn't give me pause to do so. Do you remember anything about where you're from?
I remember the last 2 years. They were good. Jarek trained me, kept me in line, got me a job. Life was good before this.
What's
It's
it
been
like
a rather
there?
Well, I can speak for the cities. They're calm. For the most part, the guards protect the people. And there isn't so much chaos. Every once in a while, you hear of a roaming band of adventurers defeating a great evil, and everybody cheers to it at the local pub.
And food shortages?
Less so. Every once in a while, you run into trading diplomacy with empires, and that stuff is way above my pay grade.
I hope I can visit someday.
I hope you can
Sounds-
too.
Lovely.
Have we ever figured out how the Vistani can travel in and out, besides being, with Strahd?
Well, the running rumor is that Strahd grants them the ability to do so, but if you ask a Vistani, half of them will try and swindle you with some sort of mist-defying potion, and
Ugh.
those who fall for it we usually find dead within a week.
I've done a lot of potion trading, and I mean potion trading, but I hope, I've never let anybody end up dead.
I'm not saying that the potions cause the death, I'm saying that
No,
we
I know.
usually
I'm
find
just
them on the
saying, like,
border.
it's just so not tasteful for somebody to be able to trick somebody like that, and in the end, it causes their death.
Well, not all the Vistani are as friendly as they seem.
I have a feeling that the people trying to leave tried very hard to leave. That fog is not kind to you.
Yeah, I remember that you tried to leave very hard, and you were exhausted when you came back.
Oh yeah, very tired.
I tried once.
What happened?
I woke up at home. You see, as Sten said, it starts off with you head in and you think you've been turned around and you pop back out somewhere near where you entered. And then you try again and you try again, and this weariness begins to come over you. The air almost seems sucked from your lungs. Your muscles begin to ache and burn. It's this strange agony. And you reach a point where you don't know which direction you came from and which direction you are going. You're just trying to get out wherever out is.
Sounds like a pretty standard night of drinking.
If your whole body burns when you drink, then maybe. But then again, I've never experienced how it is that you drink, Andar.
DM, do the Vistani have, like, colors that they wear? Like, can you tell that a Vistani is a Vistani?
Yes, so they are generally clad in very maudlin, almost like jester garb. Think like a lot of purples and blues and reds. It's very, like, they're one of the only richly colored things in all of Barovia, and it's a lot of very flowing, checkered, like, stripes and patterns and, like, silk. It's all very, think like Arabian meets like Romanian
Okay.
kind of mix. Like
Then question that you might not remember, but I was sent into the mist by a bard. Was it a Vistani? Would he fall under that characteristic?
he would. And I do remember.
What?
He was trick.
The hell?
What the eggy?
Yeah,
Irene, I really hope you get to see a real sunrise.
I can't even imagine what that would look like.
Just wait until you realize what it feels like. The first warmness of the day, beautiful colors in the sky. You just know the rest of the day is going to be lovely.
The sun has feeling. You can feel the sun.
Yes, for a brief moment, you're very connected.
And it's much brighter than it is here.
How do you see if it's so bright?
You kind of look around it. You know, if you looked behind me or to the side of me, you still know I'm there.
It's so bright you can't look at it.
Well, it's ill-advised, but I will definitely say people cast more of a shadow than they do here. And I will look behind me too, still no shadow.
Oh yeah.
These worlds that you describe sound very different from my own. I can only imagine how strange this place must feel, and I'm sorry, I read a chat message that totally threw me out. God damn it. Completely broke my immersion for a moment. Hold on.
Irina, if you had a chance to change your fate, would you?
I was thinking that the whole time.
Well, I saw that one, but it was the you tell them you're fine because how could they possibly understand? All right. I can only imagine how alien this place must feel if these places that you describe are what you call home.
I definitely think that it's what led to a little bit of our initial chaos. This is nothing like what I hail from.
Well,
Certainly much dirtier.
if that is the case, then I apologize. Perhaps early on I judged you too harshly. I imagine being faced with such a strange place. Knowing now, I would say you handled yourselves fairly admirably considering the circumstances. Perhaps not ideally, but
No.
We're sorry your house got broken into.
it had been under
Beyond-
siege for
Many repair, I know.
it was bound to happen eventually. That was not your doing. I'm sorry we couldn't save your friend. But we're here now. And there's nothing else but to press on. And perhaps we can find the clues to this reading of yours. Remind me, you said that there was one of the an aspect of the reading that pointed to this
Irina,
winery?
I just closed the Google Doc.
Yes, it said we were to look to the Wizard of Wines, which very quickly came to know is a place and not a person. And they said in wood and sand are treasure hides, and we're looking for a weapon of vengeance. What was the other part?
So this is referring to this weapon.
Well, we only have so many hints.
Apparently, Madame Ava told me something of Sword of Sunlight.
Interesting.
I imagine it would be something that glows brighter than this, and I will touch a Doomby staff and cast light because it's dark.
What part of the staff do you touch?
Oh, that's right. You have a different staff now.
That's correct.
Yeah, it's like a.
It's a
there's
much
like a giant-
creepier staff now.
There's like a hand at the. There's like the top is a hand, like a withered hand, and then there's like it's just like a kind of gnarled, like crooked staff.
It's this
Oh,
bone, alabaster bone white wood that
Yeah.
is smooth and dry along its length, and the hand at the top, the fingertips seem scorched back almost to each of the first knuckles, and it seems to be almost grasping forward. The staff itself extends from the wrist down, and about maybe 1.5 feet from its base, kind of juts out at a slight angle, so it's not completely straight. It's got these kind of like
I just
knotted,
because I'm
like-
curious, I'm going to take my hand and meet the fingertips and cast light on the fingertips.
Okay. The fingertips feel warm to your touch. And when you cast light, the light emanates through the fingertips and almost you get these like dark red, almost coal-like veins that course through the singed portions before it reaches the rest of the staff and the light actually takes effect. And the light spell causes the whole staff to glow, but the fingertips almost seem to be like embers at the base of a campfire. This kind of like smoldering, veiny, dark. They're not really emanating light so much as the rest of the staff is, but the fingertips seem to have this almost like red glow to them.
As I pull away, I'll just say, interesting.
You should really ask first before you touch someone else's stuff.
My apologies.
So, you guys reach another crossroads. And to your right, the well-worn wagon tracks seem to head up kind of northwest of the... You've been traveling southwest. This almost seems to double back. And you can see the well-worn wagon tracks kind of heading that way. And then off to your left side, heading further south, there is this very grassy kind of... almost a glorified game trail. It seems to be kind of littered with some stones, and you can tell that it's slightly worn in the sense that it's more of a walking path and less of a road.
Hmm.
This is the point at which you've reached.
We don't hear anything in the distance or like close by.
Roll me a perception check.
Bum, 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 bum. Perception 22.
Right. You hear sounds of the forest. You hear bugs and some crows off in the distance. But there is an
Gotcha.
eerie stillness. You don't hear any particular movement or anything that would draw your attention.
Gotcha.
Well, let's set up for the night, yeah?
That seems like a good idea.
At this point, it's about 8 p.m. ish.
8 p.m. And we're just like outside of like we're pretty close to the Wizard of Wines, but not quite.
Correct.
Should we set up camp outside the Wizard of Wines, or
Honestly, I think here is fine, because if we run into any trouble at the Wizard of Wine, we can't exactly deal with it currently.
That is true. Okay, and I'll try to get off, tie the horses down, and set up for the night.
All right.
And
So
are you going to do your thing?
Yes, yes. Come gather round. Talk amongst yourselves. This will take between 10 and 45 minutes, depending on how chatty everybody is.
1, 2, 3, Mississippi.
Looking like
Oh,
45. And I'll cast Tiny Hut as a ritual.
all right. So Adunbi goes and ties up the horses. Everybody kind of disembarks, gathers their belongings, all huddles around Andar, and Andar begins to cast. And within a few minutes, this shimmering dome appears over the top of you. And the sounds of the forest fade to a muted distance.
And I... Nope, never mind.
Okay. You can hear you can still hear the noises of the night outside the dome, but they all seem very muffled. And you guys can see out, so you guys can see the horses kind of grazing.
I want to read a bit before bed.
Okay.
I think I still have a little bit of the Van Richten book left.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
How's your reading going, Stead?
It's all right. I'm kind of excited for this bit of the chapter. It's about a bard.
Ooh.
Do
You want to read it out loud?
I'm all right with that.
Do you think this could be about Octavio?
No. No, I don't know if he really cares for music.
You think Octavio isn't a bard?
That's all bards care for music, or am I wrong?
But we all cast magic through in musical instruments. He doesn't carry one.
Because you learn something new every day.
Unless he's a very, very different kind of bard. In which case, how not forthcoming with him?
Hmm.
I feel like there's a lot not forthcoming about him.
I mean, we did drop his tower.
He did have a dead person's head in his chest.
That was concerning, I'll admit.
He would have spent all day looking through the rubble for that. I wonder who it is.
Didn't we ask him who it was or something? I can't remember.
Well, we were able to determine that whoever it was, they once were Vistani.
He does bear too many similarities to the beginning part of this book.
In what way?
Hey, Sten. Is it easy to read with all these people talking to you?
Actually, yes.
Yes.
Hey, Andy, we're trying to figure stuff out, okay?
I'm just going back to playing with Doctor Who.
Let me look up because I forgot the names of the places. Well, first of all, he said he's from Darkon. in the forward in this book immediately starts off with, I was growing up in the land of Darkon. And then it details a story of the man, Van Richten, who despises Vistani because of what they've done to his son.
I've read that book. They kidnapped his son, did they not?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to get into some semantics, but they kidnapped and sold, yes. Because of their actions, his son turned into a vampire.
Do you think it's possible? Are you implying that you believe that Rictavio could be Van Richten?
I think it's in the realm, maybe. It's just too many similarities. But it's also on my mind, you know, I've been reading this book for a bit.
Historically, Van Richten should be in his 70s or 80s at this point. He's an established monster hunter, the most feared monster hunter of any of the realms. Rictavio can't be over 50, can he?
How old do you think I am?
I'll be honest, I have no way of judging. With all due respect, as we've discussed, your realms are very different than this one. I've never seen a rabbit large enough to stand and speak before.
Have you seen a large enough rabbit to stand?
Only on its hind legs, and at full height, they might be 1.5 feet.
So he's around.
I'm sorry?
No, I'm just jesting. It's fresh on my mind. You know, I read this book every night. And the first thing he says is, I'm from Tarkon.
I mean, we have
don't
seen
know.
some weird things here.
How old are you?
Old enough to be as old as Van Richten.
You're over 80 years old.
Oh, not quite there, but very nearly. Bit young, but
How long a life does your...
maybe 150, 200, not as long as others.
I heard of a fairy once that lived up to like 500 years old.
That's crazy.
How old are you?
Well, if I'm remembering correctly, I think I'm about 103.
103.
Mhm.
He kind of looks to you and our Adunbi and Alistair. And how old are you?
347?
You're lying. There's no
Yeah,
way.
it's like 29. My God. Look at this skin.
I swear. All right.
How old are you, Irina?
That's impolite, Mim.
I'm 22.
You've got a lot of weight on your shoulders for a 22-year-old, Irina.
Perhaps, but that comes with being born of some sort of station, unfortunately, and admittedly, old age is not something seen very often in Barovia. At least to any significant degree. I perish the thought what I would be like at 103. A Doonby, roll me a perception check as the highest passive perception in the group.
Roll you a perception. That's a 17.
You as everyone's discussing, you're kind of observing the group quietly, and you notice outside a raven fly into the clearing above the dome and see the dome and see the horses and kind of come and land near the horses and is kind of like pecking around, and it's got a small piece of paper tied to its leg.
There's a bird near the dome with a small piece of paper tied to its leg. That's what you said?
Yeah, it's like a raven, and it's got like a little piece of paper tied to its leg.
Gotcha. Do you all see that?
See what?
There's a raven right there. Do you see it? Looks like it has some type of message attached to it.
Can I go ahead?
I guess I'll go over and walk over and see if I can get a hold of it, if it lets me.
You can leave the tiny hut, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can pass through it. You just can't cast anything through it.
Gotcha. So you step out of the dome, and as you do so, the sound of the forest grows back to its normal volume. And you approach this raven who, seeing you, kind of perks up and flies up and lands on your arm and kind of proffers its leg.
I'll try taking it.
You untie the note, and the instant that the note is free, the raven flies off. But you unfold the note, and inside you find a note from Erwin Mardukov, who has written in this kind of like quick, kind of slanting script. And Mim, Alsta, Adunbi, Sten, and Irina. I'm sending this raven in hopes that it reaches you. I do not know your exact location, but my ravens have been trained quite well to find who they are seeking at some point in time. I'm writing to let you know that we are safe. The inn is safe, and the people inside are well. My family has survived the downfall of the city, but Vallaki is not as you left it. Many of the buildings have been burned, and Lady Wachter has seized control of the town with her sort of network of spies. The Valakoviches are dead, as is the priest, and have been hung in town square as examples.
Wait,
The
priest-
Baron's son is missing. There are wanted posters around all of town, and no one has seen him since the day that you left. Lady Wachter is offering a very high reward, and there are a number of people eager for the Baron and all of his family to be put in the ground. So the hunt for the son is fervent, to say the least. Lady Wachter has offered a sizable reward. We are trying to keep our heads low, trying to draw as little attention as possible. I will try and keep you informed as I can as events unfold. But in order to maintain any sort of inconspicuousness, I'm going to have to keep my words brief and my letters less than frequent. In the meantime, we are running very short of wine, and I hope that you will follow through on your promise to investigate. But I fear I must ask one more favor. There's a friend of mine, a wizard of conjuration. Him and his wife live in a castle off to the west. We've kept touch for the last few years, but frequently his writings have become more rambling. His wife passed away a number of months ago. And since then, I'm worried that his mind is deteriorating or that he is losing grasp of what is real. He describes how he is sitting at his desk long nights working and researching, that he feels this compulsion to find answers, but he won't say what for, and his logic is becoming seemingly more and more unhinged. His letters make less and less sense each time he sends them. I know I have nothing to offer in rewards for asking. But if you were to have the opportunity to check in and see what's going on, it would be appreciated. He is a close friend of the family, and I would hate to see something bad. I would hate to see something happen that could have been prevented. So if your travels take you along that route, I hope that you can do something for him. His castle is near Kresk, in between the city and Lake Baratok, north of the bridge in the forest. Even just a wellness check would bring my heart much ease. Otherwise, I hope that this letter finds you safe. And when the opportunity presents itself, I hope that you can let us know that you made it out okay. Erwin Mordekov, Blue Water Inn.
Well,
Favors don't stop.
excuse me.
The favors don't stop.
Yes. So, lots of information.
I have to say, I feel as though we owe Erwin and Danica, of all people. Plus, if we are seeking out the hag after the Wizard of Wine on the way back, least we can do is say that we tried.
Oh, you're not wrong about that. Do you think that we... there's so many things that we have to do, but do we know how much time that you have for your soul? Is there anything like permanence about that?
You were there with me. I don't remember her saying anything as such. I don't believe I'm to get it back.
You're just planning on living your life without a soul for the rest of time.
To say I would have much of a plan, well, it'd be an overstatement.
We're not planning on letting that happen. We'll get it back.
Oh, first we should get some rest.
I agree.
Well, in the morning then. She kind of like rolls out her bedroll and pulls up a blanket.
We are tight in this, right? Like, it's not very big.
It's not very big. You guys are pretty...
It's a 10-foot radius.
Oh.
It does say 9 creatures of medium size or smaller can fit inside the dome.
Yes. So with 6 of you, it's tight but not
Nearing,
crammed.
yeah.
You guys each have enough room for you and your stuff comfortably. but no one is particularly far from anyone else. It's cozy. You guys are all having a sleepover together in a one-room basement style. Everyone's got enough room that no one's bumping into each other, but
All right. All right. Who brought the projector and the Halo 3?
it's
I
a
just bought
LAN
this easy bake
party.
oven.
Right.
Easy bake.
Irina beds down. Anyone else want to do anything else before bed?
I think I'm good.
Guys, if by chance I don't make it out without a soul or out of Barovia at all, would you do me a favor?
Oh, so that's
If you can, find Jarrett Calvera and just tell him that Alistair didn't make it. Just in the case.
if that's what you wish.
You're gonna make it just fine.
We'll see.
Alistair, I haven't let anyone drift away yet. You're not going to be the first.
Thanks, Sen.
Chat is very upset. All right, so everybody beds down. Sten, you get about 30 pages more into your book.
Okay.
As everyone kind of goes to sleep, within the dome, the sounds of the forest are muted. You guys have a calm, breezeless, kind of warm, comfortable night. Sten and Adunbi, as you guys drift off to sleep. Actually, I get Andar, Mim, and Alistair to deafen, and I will wave when you guys are out.
Aw.
Ooh.
Let me make
Dream
sure.
buddies.
All right, we are clear. So, as you guys lay down to rest, your dreams shift towards what appears to be a large, full yellow moon. And you hear... Oh, I have to wait a second. Tots leaving with their headset off. This full yellow moon and a howling in the distance seems to echo across the night and grow louder as you hear panting and the sounds of clawed feet hitting dirt as wolves rise from the hills and begin to charge in your direction. You turn and you begin to run, and the light of the moon is cascading over the side of this hill as you run down the hillside, the trees whirring past, the gnarling and gnashing sounds of wolves on your tail getting louder and louder until you come to a cliff face into a deep sea of mist and fog, and you turn and see this swarm of wolves bearing down on you before you guys both wake up in full cold sweats the following morning. So that'll be the dream that you have over the course of this evening.
Could we both see each other in the dream?
No.
Or, okay.
Okay.
Each of your dreams are individual.
Sick.
But we wake up at the same time?
I look panting and looking around. I like to think that way we make eye contact.
You guys are both completely
is this a meet cute?
drenched You guys are both completely drenched in sweat, and both of your Sten, your fur seems very like unkempt, and Adunbi, your hair is frizzy and matted. And when you guys both start awake so suddenly, it alerts everyone else. They all kind of like, everyone's groggily waking up.
What's wrong?
What smells like wet dog?
Wet dog. I just had the most terrible dream.
I didn't have a very pleasant one either.
It's not something that would otherwise terrify me, but for some reason there is in a fear that I can't explain.
I don't know that I've ever been more concerned about the moon.
Do we feel like afraid of the moon at all? Or no?
Not unless individually you have a reason to. Like, it's not like
Okay.
it's not like the moon in and of itself was frightening, but
Okay.
What? Mind sharing what happened in these dreams?
It's all a bit fuzzy. Sten, maybe you have a better picture of it than I do.
It was the like a full moon. It was a little yellowish. I'm gonna get the quill to write it down.
All right, did you say what? You said what?
I'm gonna get the quill to start writing this down
Oh, okay.
because it apparently loves colors and stupid details. And there were wolves.
Lots of wolves. And a moon. I think.
And I was running down a hill. Running up that hill. And I
cultural relevance.
and I made it to a cliffside that gave way to fog. Like there's no way out.
Doomby, have you ever tried to
Becoming
escape
a wolf?
the fog?
Yes, I have.
Oh, okay. Have you ever tried to escape the fog?
Escape the
Leave?
fog. I've tried walking outside of it, but to no avail.
I look over to Irina. Does it look like Irina had this same dream?
No, she's looking puzzled and concerned.
Okay.
I suppose it only makes sense I'd have a dream about werewolves after being decimated by like 8 of them.
Seems a fair assumption.
You were bitten.
Yeah, I think so. Quite a few times.
She whirls on Adunbi. Were you bitten?
Like, earlier?
By the werewolves during the fight? Were you bitten?
Were they werewolves?
Werewolf.
The large
Were
ones.
they werewolves?
The big ones.
Those were werewolves? I thought they were just, wolves.
The little ones were wolves. The ones that were 4 feet. But the ones that stood, the two arm, the ones that used their arms. Did one bite you?
Maybe? I can't quite remember. Why does that even matter?
Because that's how werewolves spread lycanthropy.
I'm already an animal. I can't do anything to me.
Lycanthropy isn't the condition of being an animal. It's a curse. It's a disease. It's We have to be very careful. If and I'm not saying for sure. I'm saying. Is it? Is it not lycanthropy? Is it lycanthropy?
It's lichen.
It's lie. Yeah. But I was gonna let you keep saying it.
Yeah.
It's just Irina's accent.
It's just. I'm sorry. Here in Barovia.
Yeah, lycanthropy.
All right. So, lycanthropy. It's. We have to be very careful. And I'm not saying we know for sure, but if this is true, if you were bitten and if you contracted this disease, your temperament may begin to shift, and you might start seeing physical changes. And if this occurs, there's a chance that you could become very threatening very quickly.
You couldn't imagine me being so threatening.
What physical changes?
Well, lycanthropy mimics the source. So, if you were in fact bitten by werewolves, should the transformation take place, you would transform into a werewolf or some amalgamation of a wolf and yourself. So, in Sten's case, a wolf bit? A rab wolf?
Oh,
Or a wolf bit.
surely that couldn't happen because that would be one of the coolest things ever to happen to my character. So no way.
So
If the transformation does take place, it is likely that you will not be able to discern us as your friends. Werewolves are chaotic, they are violent, they hunt. And those who undergo the transformation very rarely manage to maintain control of themselves.
I wouldn't be worried.
well, welcome to the Blood Hunter class.
I'm not saying we know for sure. A dream could just be a dream. I'm just saying we need to be careful.
Wait, is Sten gonna be a werewolf?
And the Doomby, apparently.
No, I'm gonna turn into a. I've actually been a were rabbit the whole time, and we're finding that out right now.
Oh.
I'm just saying we need to be careful.
Add it to the list, I suppose.
Cool.
Well, she starts rolling up a bedroll. That's one way to start the morning, I presume.
Fucking morning.
And if you beat me, I'm gonna be so cross.
I wouldn't. You're too feeble.
Okay. Okay.
Well, first things first. Let's go deal with this Wizard of Wines. I'll start packing up.
All right. Irina packs up her stuff. At this point, the dome has collapsed, so you guys are fully out in the open. The sound of the forest is grown. You guys can kind of hear some birds in the distance.
Oh, sorry.
What say you guys, why don't we leave the horses here and travel on foot the rest of the way? Just in case there is trouble, we'll still have the horses.
We might want to take them at least a little further in. It's another hour or two to the actual winery, if memory serves.
Well then, sounds good.
All right.
All right, so you guys all mount up. There's that kind of low-lying fog and the early morning dew glistening on the grass and the trees around you. You guys take the fork and head up northwest. And before long, the road becomes a muddy trail that meanders through the woods, descending gradually until the trees part, revealing a mist-shrouded meadow. Meadow. A signpost swings as the path descends down the hill, and it says vineyard. A light drizzle of rain begins to fall. Unpainted fences blindly follow the trail, which skirts north of a sprawling vineyard before bending south towards a stately building. The fog takes on ghostly forms as it swirls between the neatly tended rows of grapevines. Here and there, you see rope-handled half-barrels used for hauling grapes. North of the trail is a large stand of trees, and a man wearing a dark cloak and cowl stands at the edge of the trees, watching you.
That's the man.
A man in a dark cloak and a cowl.
I'm gonna cast
The edge of the
Mage Armor
trees?
myself.
You cast Mage Hand? Or Mage Armor?
Mage armor.
Yeah.
How do we have a distance of how far he might be?
He's probably about 100, 150 feet off.
Can he be 120?
Yeah.
Don't cast message.
Okay.
Do you work here?
He kind of looks at you, and you see his head kind of cock slightly. He looks around, and he motions over, and he ducks under the tree line.
Oh.
Okay, so I asked him if he worked here, and he didn't respond at all, and instead he's beckoned us over there and started hiding. Is this a game?
Well, let's go see what he has to say. I mean, I don't know anybody who would knowingly tell us where they're hiding to have ill intent.
Perhaps
I'm gonna-
now we tie up the horses.
Sounds good to me.
Good plan. And then I'm in a stealth. Among the trees.
All right,
Among the
roll me a
trees.
stealth check.
Think we all should.
25.
All right,
Can I also do that?
you can.
Cool.
No, how dare you try and stealth now? The nerve of you. You can't stealth. You're not a rogue. That's not how that works.
30-20.
All right.
Are we all stealthing?
That's up to you guys. I've only heard two.
Sure. I will go stealth as well.
All right.
Hey,
Nah.
I'll follow along with them. 19.
All right. 10.
8.
8. All right. Irina will attempt watching most of the group. So overall, pretty much everybody but Andar is stealthily moving towards the tree
Love
line.
that.
Andar's just marching his way along.
Call me feeble. You're feeble hiding over in the trees.
As you guys kind of use the thick like bush and the various fauna that's glowing around this vineyard to kind of approach the tree line, you guys kind of rise up this hill and get a larger view of the vineyard, and you can see that there are 3 full fields of grapevines, and out of the 3, 2 of them have become withered and dry, and the dirt is caked and cracked. And there is only one vineyard, even within the rain. As the rain falls, it almost seems to like not be soaking into the earth the way that it should. It's just almost like gathering and flowing off the top, taking sediment and dead leaves and branches with it. Whereas the 3rd field does appear to be this rich, loamy, green field. But you can kind of see through the dead vines and in the thick field, just hints of movement and kind of flits of what almost seem like bugs, as well as like some figures walking around. As you guys finally approach the tree line, and it's a fairly solid tree line here. The trees almost cast this shadow as you pass underneath into the more forested area. And you as a group enter, and Andar's kind of leading the way, the rest of you kind of sneakily following. And as Andar steps from the trees, 9 cloaked figures step out from behind the trees.
That's a
all
lot.
in these dark cloaks and these cowls. And one of them is this old withered man who has a brooch with two feathers. And he comes and kind of hobbles his way over to Andar and kind of looks. So, are you the representative for your group?
I suppose so.
All hail Andar.
All hail
And what is it that brings you here? Who are you?
Wine, of course.
You're here for business. You want wine?
I always want wine.
Who sent you?
Who says anybody sent us?
Well, you're here for wine. If you're here to do
I'm
business, then
capable of
clearly you
making
need
my
it.
decisions.
If you're here for wine, then clearly you need it for something.
Can I step out of the shadows?
To consume, of course.
You step out of the shadows. He kind of turns and clocks you and says, "Really, this man's your representative?
Yeah, it was a bad
He's
idea.
here to consume wine."
It was a bad idea.
You're holding auditions, yeah.
Danica and Erwin Mardukov sent us.
Erwin sent you? That blasted
is
no
that a-
good for nothing. He starts cursing and muttering under his breath, and one of the other figures comes over, kind of puts a hand on his shoulder and says, like, he hasn't been home in a while. It's okay. You don't have to be angry at him forever. Yes, I do. You don't get to tell me how you don't get to tell me how I live my life, and you don't get to tell me how I feel my feelings. He turns to you. Bad
I
blood.
just look at Andar.
Is there somebody perhaps a bit more stable we could talk to?
I'm in charge here. You came to my winery. Do not disrespect me, young man. And he kind of like comes over and like bops you on the head with his like gnarled staff. Just like gives you a good whack, like a little bit Rafiki-ish. Like,
I love this guy. We meant no disrespect.
So, Erwin sent you.
Yes.
To what end? What is your purpose here?
I believe everybody in Valaki was curious as to why the wine shipments have stopped.
Well, you saw the fields.
Is what seems to be the problem here. What happened?
Seems to be that the people who work here like hiding in the trees more than they like planting grapes.
Well, for one thing, my winery has been invaded. We were ousted from our home. There's a number of creatures who have taken control of the winery.
Creatures, you say?
Yes.
What type of creature?
How many?
A number, a significant degree. Well, depends. Are you talking? One moment. I need to consult my notes.
Okay.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Crazy old man. He has notes.
We've been watching them for a long time.
Okay, cool. The druids. These worshippers of nature turned to these strange perversions. They've lived peacefully for many, many years, but as of late, they've been conducting raids. They took control of my winery with their needle blights. The swarms and swarms of bug-like accomplices. And unfortunately, my family and I were unable to defend the building. So we fled.
Killing plants seems quite antithetical to druids.
They don't want to kill the plants. They want the winery.
They've done that to your fields?
More or less. It's a result of their actions. But until we can get home and restore our control of the winery, the rest of the land is going to run short of wine. And let me tell you, that is going to be a problem because Barovians are not very happy without their wine. I don't know if you've noticed, but life here is not the grandest of places.
Endor here also is quite cranky without his wine.
A connoisseur, I see.
How long have they taken over?
They've had the winery for about a week. The raids have been going on much longer. Close to 6 months now.
Have more reinforcements gone into the winery?
Well, it's not been the same group each time, if that's what you're asking. They always come back with more. Druids, blights, the blasted fucking scarecrows.
And you've just been here hiding and watching.
Only for a few days. For many months, we were able to keep them at bay. To a degree. They got to the fields, sure. One field first, then the other.
Have you sent anybody in this last week?
He gestures. Who do I have to send? My family? Look at them. And you look, and you see that there is one eldest son who appears to be about middle-aged, a little older than Erwin, and then a younger son who appears to be in his 20s. There is a woman of about 30, and then another man who appears to be of similar age, and the two of them are standing together. Clearly, they're together. Otherwise, there is a teenage boy, two young boys of less than 10, and the couple is holding a small baby girl wrapped in a blanket. You think I'm going to endanger my family against an army of those things?
Oh, gods, no. Did the Martikovs do something to upset you?
The Martikovs. Are you referring to Erwin?
Yeah.
He gestures. Meet the rest of the Martikovs, boy.
Oh.
Erwin is my son.
You do look alike.
You notice they all are wearing those cloaks with the two feather clasps, and you recall that both Erwin and Danica also had the two feather clasps on their cloaks. Do the Martikovs have bad blood, he says.
Why does your family have a dress code?
It's a symbol. Does your family not have some sort of symbol to identify them by?
Oh, just,
Probably just the ears.
not just the ears. No, it's more, a notion of, all the things that we've done for our town. Rather than a medallion.
We call it, you could call it superstition, maybe. Tradition. Whatever the reason. We have them. They are ours. Now,
Well, if it was
you
so
came for the winery.
superstitious-
Oh, I'm sorry. Continue.
Well, if it was so superstitious, can't we have one?
I'm sorry. Are you part of our family? I didn't think so.
I'm gonna get down on one knee. I'm kidding. Just break some tension. No, I'm. No.
Now, enough about our brooches. You were here for the winery, yes? Owen sent
Yes.
you to what? Investigate the shortage.
I
Well, there it is.
I-
There's your reason. He gestures in the
believe
general
to
direction.
also, I believe to also be of help.
What? You presume that you're going to go in there and take my winery back? The lot of you. Until
I mean-
5 minutes ago, you didn't even know who owned the place.
I mean, we have our talents, and I'm sure that Erwin sent us out here because of that.
Perhaps.
What were you using to defend your winery for the many months beforehand?
Anything we could find.
And did you run out or just get overrun?
Overrun eventually. A position is defensible. And you can deal with much larger numbers than your own when you have a defensible position. But eventually, you are outgunned and outmanned. I know
Outnumbered,
you're all
Yeah.
thinking it.
Well,
So,
all I can think of are jokes.
there's your answers. There's no wine because we don't have access to the winery.
Why didn't
like
you
to
send
do
word
something.
out?
Because you think we want to draw attention to the fact that we've lost control of our family's livelihood?
Surely you need some help? Instead of watching it crumble?
We may have sent word to a select few, but travel takes time.
Well, whatever.
And if we were to make it too public, more would come to take advantage. This winery is a valuable asset to whoever owns it. Wine is a powerful commodity here in Barovia.
Well, whatever issues you have with your son, he seems to have sent people to help.
Perhaps. That is yet to be seen.
Well, how can we be of service?
Well, if you'd like, you could try to take back the winery, but I warn you, it may be dangerous. I know of at least 30 needleblights and a number of druids that wander the halls. If you are able to systematically work your way through the winery, you might be able to take them individually, but were you to draw too much attention, there's a chance you could be overrun.
We could take them
What's a
all at
needle
once
blight?
if we just set the building on fire.
You could, and then we'd have no wine forever, now would we?
However, Andar, you do prove a good point. Maybe the more we deal with outside and away from the building, you can do that cool thing you did at the swamp.
You know, I'm pretty fast.
My family would be able to offer limited support were you to run into trouble. We've been keeping an eye on things, and they don't seem to have noticed that we're here yet. Not all of us are shipshape. Adrian, Elvia, and Dag would be able to help to a degree. Stefania would have to stay here and keep after the children. He kind of like puts a gnarled hand on his staff. I am a little too achy nowadays to do any sort of fighting myself, but would be able to provide limited reinforcements should they become necessary.
I also wouldn't want to put your family in any danger, so if you guys can fight from afar, that would definitely be best.
It is possible.
Is there anything precious you left behind? Trying to leave? Maybe
Besides everything we own in our entire home, you mean?
we can't take it home.
Oh, you're referring to a reward. That's all
No,
adventurers ever want these days, isn't it?
I believe Sten was
searching.
referring as bringing something back to you.
Oh. And here I was thinking that you were all selfish bastards. Now let's see. Also, I'm just going to show you the picture of this man.
Oh, amazing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, bury him on the spot. Yeah.
All right, that looks very appropriate.
He
I was
looks
hoping
like
I was hoping I was characterizing him accurately.
he looks like he hits people's ankles with his cane.
Or foreheads.
Get out of the way.
He thinks for a moment and he says, ideally, would be able to restore control of the winery, and my family and I would be able to return home. If not, I don't know that there's anything of particular worth that might be of interest to me or you. But, should we succeed, I'd be capable of offering you some wine for your trouble, which I imagine would be very valuable nowadays, considering the shortage. And perhaps, once you've proven trustworthy, we can discuss some other ways that we might be able to assist you. Or vice versa.
Sounds good to me.
Good! Nice and simple, I like it. No discussion, no sort of quarrels or debate. Straightforward, to the point. I appreciate it.
I'm physically incapable of that.
I like this one. He kind of gestures over at Alistair with his staff. Is he your leader? Are you following him? I thought he was the representative. He kind of gestures over at Andar.
Oh,
Should
and
put
that's
him in
definitely
charge.
our representative, yes.
That seems like a poor decision. This one seems very straightforward.
Are we just gonna keep sitting here talking to this cranky old man?
Rude.
I'm with you. We should probably just get on with it.
Well, gang,
Is
Well,
there...
I asked about the precious item to see if they would be huddled in a certain area in the winery as opposed to anywhere else.
Yes, I agree. Is there any sort of route we should take, or any sort of information we should know going in? Well, there's no sort of huddle space. There's no sort of, I imagine they would likely be... There's probably going to be a number in the actual winery dealing with the wine itself. I can't imagine for what purpose they... But the fermentation vats, the barrel storage, the veranda... I imagine that these places would all have some sort of representatives. I'm sure there are some milling about the grounds. I will say, if you're going to take an approach, coming from the north side, there's a wagon stationed a little bit on the eastern side of the building. Just above it, there's a staircase with an overlook. And the door should be unlocked. That would allow you to gain access to the fermentation vats directly and get you right near the staircase so you have access to both the cellar and the upper floor without too much trouble. I can't guarantee there's no one there, but it might be the most direct route to get full access to the building. It's right past the stables. You can't miss it.
Last question for you. Do you know why they took the winery? What it is they wanted?
That we can discuss upon your return.
Understood.
I think we should discuss it now.
I think that your strangers come here and I know nothing about you.
I think we should just go and let them continue running your winery.
That's fine. Reinforcements are coming. Go on your way then.
Set this whole winery on fire.
Maybe what's a needle blight?
What's a what?
A needle blight. He said needle blight.
A needle blight?
Yes.
A blight?
He said druids have in the needle blights. Are they?
Well, blights are kind of like a scourge or a drainage upon the land.
Mini Strahds.
Mini struts.
All right.
Dude,
I presume you're trying to be subtle, asking Adunbi, yes?
Yeah. While him and are having a little tiff.
Cool.
a little Tiffany.
To the older gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
Have you found anything that works well against them? Anything we should know going in?
Let me consult my notes.
We've tried talking to him. We've tried. Actually, that was it.
Our group uses talking. It wasn't very effective. Quick, use our next ability. Threaten. Or charm?
Hey, baby. You trying to get out of this winery?
You trying to get out of this winery, dog? Or there's a nice little spot close by.
Here we go.
Boom, boom, boom.
Here's what I know. They don't seem to need to see or hear. They seem to sense where you are.
Oh, great. It's perfect for me.
And despite being primarily made of plant material, fire doesn't seem to be any more effective than any other form of resistance. They're going to look strange. They're humanoid beings covered in spines and thorns. But they're not sentient. They belong to the druids who control them.
They're humanoid formed?
Yes.
Interesting. I was
From a
picturing,
distance, they look like people.
as Hermes, I was picturing like praying mantis type stick bug things, and definitely not that.
I'm picturing
Nah,
a
we're going to
mix
fight
between. I'm thinking like the thumbs from Spy Kids mixed with the scarecrow.
Thumbs.
They have 3 variations that we've seen. There's those made of vines, those made of needles, and those made of twigs. The twigs, those do seem to be susceptible to fire. The vines and the needles, unfortunately, do not. The vines are a little bit more stealthy. They're more ambush predators, and they're constricting. Whereas the needles can fire the needles like porcupines from range distances. Twigs, can be quite stealthy, blending in with the stickwork around them. But they don't seem to have any sort of special abilities that we've been able to encounter.
Well, and turning back to my group, seems we have two ways: stealth or loud and proud. How do we play this?
Old man,
Yes?
did you see us coming over here after you beckoned us?
Of course. We were watching you. Why would I beckon you over and not watch to see if you came? Who do you think I am?
I
We
come out
tried
from
to do
behind the
it-
tree.
Oh, go ahead.
I come out from behind a tree I was hiding behind and say, "Did you see me?
Well, I saw you before.
But did you see me before I came, like, walk over here?"
I presumed either you came or you went. I don't have to watch your every move.
You see me behind the tree.
Did you see me behind the tree before I just
There's a
came out?
tree in the way. How could I see you when you're behind it?
Okay, cool.
Maybe we do stealth. It works out for some of us.
The only thing I would say is we want to make sure. I think our best weapon against this is Andar, and we want to make sure that that fight happens over the blighted fields. Fighting with fire near a wooden building might not be the best idea.
Are the I already forgot what they're called. The
Blights?
clumping blights. Yes, are they always accompanied by druids?
Not necessarily. Often, but not necessarily.
All right, I vote stealth.
Adubi, Andar?
Also vote stealth. As long as we can get this quickly, over quickly and fast, stealth seems like the best method to do so.
All right. I don't even need to ask,
Go up
ma'am.
one of the
Yeah, I
fields
was like, you guys
and
know me.
cause quite a commotion and see how many of them come out.
Or we could use that as plan B if, well, quite frankly, our stealth fails, if that becomes a thing.
Well, we could have one person draw them all out, and then the rest of us are hiding, and then ambush stealth attack.
We did try that with the werewolves and it worked pretty well.
Sounds
Although
good then.
I took a beating for us.
That's true.
Well,
Maybe.
we're all here now. Let's get this started.
Wait, what's the plan then? Are we all just gonna try to stealth, and then if it doesn't work, we'll draw them out and...
Stealth up to the building and Andar takes pot shots.
Okay.
It'd be
Safe.
towards the back of the group.
It'll be about 100 feet away.
Well, Andar, you could talking as Hermes now. You could technically stay with the family because they're also staying back and shooting at these things from the distance, basically.
I don't want to be anywhere near this family. I hate that guy.
Or you could be off on your own.
Are you gonna get us to the map, Cap?
Yes, I am.
Just because that'll determine where I want to be.
Well, as you guys get closer to the winery itself, I'll give you the map.
Also, DM table question. Do we have the time to go into this combat right now?
So,
We have an hour.
as of now, we have two options. Either we could end a little early, or we could, because it's not going to be all one combat. This is going to be essentially like a mini dungeon, where
I didn't know if it was going to be like an all-out war or multiple different little things.
I mean, I think it'd be cool to like start like the session like doing the stuff, but that's up to everyone else.
Okay, I'm down to end a little early if you guys want to.
I'm into it.
Okay.
Yes.
I think that
I
does
rolled
make
really
the most
low.
sense.
Do it. Yes.
quick test to
Can buy
see.
another paradise.
All right, then just in the essence of, since we do have about 40 minutes, is there any other role play that we want to hit as you guys like kind of prep to head towards the winery? Or do we want to just have it be you guys are heading towards the winery and next session we pick up as you guys approach it further?
Yeah, I don't think I've got anything that would fit.
Yeah, I think
same.
I've kind of covered most of the stuff that I wanted to talk
That's
about
fair.
this session.
Yeah.
All right,
Ba-ba-ba-ba.
then we'll have a nice short session today.
Ba-ba-ba.
I'm a little sad, but also I'm sick, so I should probably like go sleep because I'm getting.
Do we
Gonna-
want to take a little time for cameras?
Oh yeah.
I think
since-
I managed to. I kind of, while you guys were doing your chat, I think I managed to fix most of it.
So that's what you were doing.
I was.
I'm testing for green bar.
Green bar.
Testing.
You know
think
what? The first thing about that dream that I thought of was Once Upon a Time.
Oh, interesting.
Like immediately.
I'm into that. I'm cool with that.
Then I'm like, he loves that show. Did he just do that?
What's funny is I didn't even think of that. In fact, like with that,
Was that a subconscious thought?
I like. Where are you referring to in the series?
All of the werewolf bits.
There are werewolves in Once Upon a Time.
There's just the one. Well, there's two technically.
It's been a long time since I've seen it.
But
all of the stuff prior to her being conscious about it.
yeah. Interesting.
That's
There
what
you
the
go.
dream-
I didn't even
dream
think
reminded
about
me of.
that. There's definitely. I mean, I think that's just similar elements of
Mhm.
thematic, right?
Well, until I find out that I was a werewolf and I went around howling at the edge of the world and made it back, but I was all sweaty. Following the question, you guys can leave the hut, right?
Can you though?
I've got my conspiracy board
That's true
already
because
ready.
because if it was still Sten, then you would still be able to get in and out of Tiny Hut.
I will say though, had you guys were in such cozy quarters, you guys physically didn't leave. That was a dream
ethereal
sequence.
werewolf? That's even cooler.
Like you guys were in such small quarters. Had you guys exited in the fashion you're suggesting, it would have drawn attention and people would have woken up.
Did you guys get bit or scratched in that fight?
I know Sten did.
Yes, all of that. Yeah, I took I think how much hit points? I took 45 hit points in one round.
Holy.
I'll post.
I didn't take any. I was good. I was good to go.
I'll post the video here in the next few days. But there's some Constitution checks that were occurring.
Yes, yeah. I did make one, and then nothing happened after that. But I don't think I got a very high number at all.
So. All right. Well then, I guess that's the session for today. That's like the first session we've ever ended early.
Yeah, usually we go like over 30 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
You usually go like a lot later.
I think that works out well for story beat though.
Yeah. It's interesting timed. And I do apologize that I was trying to fix the tech end a little bit today, so I was multitasking.
I mean, we also today
talked-
was lore dump day, so
Yeah.
But it was good. That was good. Like, because I could allow you guys to talk and I could chime in. We got a little bit of Irina fleshed out too. So it worked out that I could then fix all the tech side stuff because you guys can see. Does this look better to you?
Yeah.
And so I
Yeah, it
think
looks good.
I got
What
rid
size
of
is it?
all the green lines.
Let me warm my hands really quick.
No. Wait. I need high fives. I don't know. It's delayed on.
Booyah, booyah, somewhere, booyah.
And then this is the other one for this one was the one that I fixed originally, so this one should be pretty much set. It looks like I need to raise up. Just a
But,
little bit.
Above table, you guys officially know everything I do about Alistair.
Got him.
Let's go.
That's all I got. That's all she wrote.
We still need to pick a leader. A leader-ish.
Don't let Andar do it, for the love of God.
I'm all aboard the Andar train.
I
Andar
love
has
it.
negative charisma.
You know what? Mim wants to take over.
I want Ender to do it so bad.
I like that Andar does it, and then Alistair steps in when people start getting pissed at him.
But is it a waste of my +10 to these skills? Maybe.
Hey, I mean, just
Plus
because
10.
you're doesn't mean that you can't do stuff with them.
I'm awesome in those skills, but I roll them at disadvantage.
If I can persuade Andar to be the leader, I'm gonna do that. That'll be the natural 20 I roll for the 30.
That's hilarious.
Again, I'm going to point out it doesn't have to be the person that's talking to be the leader.
Safune says
just-
not every leader needs charisma.
Yeah, I was gonna say just someone who's good at making decisions and morally aligns with
Sure.
the majority of the group.
What makes it
Yeah.
not Alistair?
Andar's totally good at that. I believe.
Ender's a perfect representation of us.
Yeah.
A little grumpy.
That's it. Just a little grumpy.
Yeah.
A little grumpy.
the whole group.
Yeah. And then that's it.
Oh my god.
And then his motivation is reward inspired.
See, we
Classic.
pretty much have everything, huh?
We are set.
Yeah, I think I managed to fix pretty much all of the screen stuff while you guys were chatting. So hopefully we won't have any more tech issues moving forward. I'll just have to make sure that I get the map right each session. But everything else should be auto set now.
All right, nice.
I have a question, rules related, because there is no clear answer from the rules guy at D&D.
Okay.
For enhanceability, when you upcast it, and this is what online forums are saying because it's so finicky. When you upcast, you get to pick another target,
Okay.
and the spell reads in a way that you could select different effects because it's touch then choose instead of choose and then touch your targets. How do you want to play that? Do I
Define what
have
you
to
mean by
select-
different effects.
Okay, so enhanceability, you give a person advantage on like charisma, or
Yeah.
maybe you got strength checks. You give them 10 hit points. Do
Okay.
you want to play it so if I upcast, everyone gets the same thing,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
or I can choose different effects?
I see what
because
you're
I
saying.
Um,
Because it's it's not clear at all. No.
I'll leave that up to the group. What do we think? Because on the one hand, choosing different effects is distinctly more powerful, but also having you all within touch means that you basically can only do it as a prep spell, and or if it's in a clutch situation, you have to be in the same place.
I
Also,
say,
considering
personally,
it's
yeah. Go for it.
considering it's an upcast, I don't see that as overpowered.
Also,
Because you're spending.
Safune says it reads reasonably as they could all get different effects, and it's a 3rd level spell. So I could see that. But it's
Yeah.
touch. It's still touch range, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So then I think that with the limitation of the touch range too, I think that does make sense because
Okay.
that makes it so that you either have to prepare it in advance or you have to.
It's a second level spell, and to get the targeting effect, you have to outcast it to 3rd or higher, and it's like you're using a 3rd level or higher spell slot for like those effects. I'm totally fine with it being like different effects for different people.
Okay, right on.
It seems cool. It's like I like seeing those kind of spells being used more. So I'm like, if it's gonna be a little bit more powerful, so people get to do cool things, I'm totally down for it.
No, I think that makes sense
Cool.
because I think that there are enough other limitations.
Yeah.
That,
They'll never apply to like attack rolls or saving throws. So
yeah.
But okay, right on. Thank you.
I have
problem.
a DM for the future question.
Okay.
For the future.
When/if we take feats, do the feats have to be from Wizards of the Coast books, or can they be from any?
I would say they have to be official unless otherwise like discussed.
Okay.
Like they have to be D&D perks.
The one I'm
And-
specifically talking about is from Tal'Dorei Reborn, but it's not
That's-
technically.
Isn't most of the Tal'Dorei stuff licensed now?
It's licensed under Darrington Press, not Wizards of the Coast, so it can't be on D&D Beyond because
Yeah,
it's.
these two are the D&D ones.
I was gonna say but those two are Tal'Dorei as well.
No.
Tal'Dorei Reborn is a new
But-
book, but they licensed it with Darrington Press instead of Wizards of the
Interesting.
Coast.
So only some of I didn't realize only some of the Tal'Dorei stuff was technically official.
It's because they got their own press release. They have a way to release it now.
Gotcha. I would say then let's discuss offline about it, and we can
Cool.
see what's fitting.
Can I hop off so I can get us some food and then take a nap?
Yeah.
I'd like to not be sick anymore.
That sounds like a very reasonable thing to want.
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
appreciate your demands.
Yeah.
Your demands are appreciated and warranted.
Well, thanks, friends. I'll see ya next week.
Take it easy, feel better.
Aw.
Bye.
So,
All right.
Okie-dokie.
all right.
Well, thanks for
I'll
playing,
also
everybody.
hop off and get some food. Thank you for the games. I will see you guys next week.
Of course.
Take it easy.
Peace.
Peace.
Thank you, guys.
Ooh.